In optical illusion, we have three cons. We have concentric, contour, and converging. To remember concentric, what you want to do is draw a circle around the word centric. Con is a word that means together, together in the center. Concentric shapes are like when you drop a pebble in the water and you see those round shapes come out from one another. Shapes that come together at one center are concentric. You can have concentric squares, concentric blobs, as long as it is a closed shape and it radiates from that center shape. It is concentric. Okay, contour. Contour line is what happens right here. Contour line, I draw a tour bus. And I say, if you were a bus and you drove through a puddle of paint, when your tires hit a bump, they would go around the bump and continue down the road. The more of a bump you give your line, the more 3D it'll look. You want to turn the opposite way when you get to the other side of the circle. Something that also happens in illusion is when lines are closer together, they look further away. As they get further away from each other, they appear closer to us. Right, that isn't so good. That's a contour line. Alright, the next con in optical illusion is called converging. Converging lines come together at one point, and you also see this in one point perspective. What I do with converging, I want you to exaggerate the V and put a dot there, so you remember that converging comes together at one point, like the V. Alright, now what we want to do is we want to put some of those things together. And you're going to try some things on a piece of paper. So I want you to take a piece of paper and fold it into 4. You're going to have 4 little squares that we're going to practice on. So I'm going to make a square . Alright, I'm going to make a square over here, ignore that dot. You're going to practice a couple of things. One of the other things you're going to practice is varying the distance between your lines. The closer your lines are together, the further away your object will seem. So when you want your drawing to look like it's rolling away from you. You want to make your lines very steadily get closer together, a little closer. Hope that's close enough. Use a clear ruler so you can see how close you are from one line to the next. And draw these straight lines, straighter than mine. You can. And then let them get a little bit further away from each other. A little bit further, and you can get back close together again if you want to make it go there. And then you can do the same thing this way. Let them get closer together. And where they're close together, it's going to appear further away, and then as you let the lines get a little bit further away from each other, it'll appear to have popped out at you. You want to go all the way across. Some of my lines are not going all the way across because of this device that I have here, but you want to go all the way across your paper, all the way across that square. What you're going to do is you're going to combine some of these things. The converging, the concentric, and this what I'm doing right here is varying the distance between the lines. Alright. I'm going to make another square. And this time I'm going to start with converging lines. I'm going to go across. Your whole square. I'm going to have some fun with this. I'm going to let some of these lines get closer together. And what's going to do is this is going to make your converging lines look like a wave. A little bit closer. And start spreading them out a little bit. Now, if you wanted to, you could put some floating circles in here and use the contour line around them. Look through the PowerPoint and all of the examples that students have done. You can see here where it gets closer together, it's going to look like it's getting further away. And then as I come closer, okay, that one wasn't right. Okay, come together at one point. And as I get further away, it's going to start to look like it's coming back out at you. going past my edges there a little bit. And I'm going to start getting closer together again. What you want to do is combine the three cons with some ideas or some different kinds of line that you may come to think about. Now there's different things you could do with different parts of this. You could draw some diagonals like this from one converging line to the other. You can make them rounded like this. Oh wait, round tool. Where they go round this way. Round this way. Round this way. And you could go all the way around as long as you meet on the other side. So if you have like this splotch, it does have to come and meet and close that shape. Remember, concentric radiates, so you can keep making those around each other. Some other things you can do. You can make some concentric squares. Over top. You can make concentric circles, or even octagons. It's just important that you close that shape. Probably better if it was a little centered here. Here's my line. So you can make these shapes radiate from the center. So you pretty much get the idea. Now, when you want these shapes to look like they're getting closer together and getting further away from you, you can put them closer together, and then as they come out, you can make them further away from each other and bigger. You always want to make things get closer together as they go further away, and make them bigger as they come closer to you. So what I want you to do is take a piece of paper, and you're going to take these 4 squares that you've folded, and you're going to practice all these different ways that you could use converging lines, concentric. You can even break, say this is your little design area here. You could take and you could divide it. You know, you could start with corners. Make sure they're all enclosed. And then what if you did converging lines from the corner? Converging lines don't have to be straight. What if you did converging lines that were curved from the center, and you only went to the corners where you were doing some straight lines? You can be waving converging lines. They don't have to be straight. You just have to have a lot of them so that your plan looks like it's moving back in space, like those ones that you saw. So you can divide your paper so that you can play with the corners separately. Now if you did this to this corner, what you'd want to do is make your lines cross this way. You always want a checkerboard look. And let them get closer and closer together because you want that corner to look like it's rolling back. Now you can also take converging lines and instead of making straight lines across, you can make them rounded instead. Look through all the student artworks and all the different ways they use converging lines, concentric shapes, or just varying the distance between the lines, letting them get closer together and then further away from each other to come up with a bunch of different designs. And then you're going to come up with your own design. But I want you to practice on a piece of paper first. And when you're done, what you're going to do is color every other square black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white, and you will have an illusion that hopefully tricks your eye and makes it look like it's moving around the paper.